You're not crazy. The tension is real. The fake smiles, the walking on eggshells meetings, the passive-aggressive comments tossed out like grenades, the micromanagement, the credit theft, the cold stares followed by forced praise in public, only to be undermined in private. You don't need to justify what you're feeling. You've got a toxic manager, and it's starting to rot your mind from the inside. The pressure builds slowly until your Sunday evening feels like morning, and your Monday morning commute feels like a walk to the gallows. But there is a way through this hell, and it doesn't come from fighting fire with fire. It comes from fireproofing your mind. That's where Stoicism steps in, not as philosophy, but as a weapon. This isn't about tolerating abuse. This is about reclaiming your sanity in a system that feeds on your reaction. Because toxic bosses don't just drain your energy. They train you to abandon yourself. They pull you into emotional tug-of-war, provoke your defenses, and condition you to either explode or collapse. But you don't have to play their game. You can stand in the same room, feel the same heat, and not burn. That's the core of the Stoic workplace stress response. You don't suppress your feelings, you control your framing, you don't allow their chaos to colonize your mind. The Stoics knew exactly how power games worked. They lived in empires run by tyrants, liars, and egomaniacs. If anyone understood what it meant to survive under corrupt authority without losing your soul, it was them. And they didn't teach fantasy. They taught resilience at work, in battle, in life. Epictetus, born a slave, said it like this: "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In other words, the problem isn't your boss, it's your leash. And the Stoics had a knife sharp enough to cut it, the dichotomy of control. This is the first shift. You split the world into two parts, what you control and what you don't. And your boss lives almost entirely in the second half. Their tone, their mood swings, their treatment of you, that's their circus, not your responsibility. What is yours? Your response, your attitude, your inner posture. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled the entire Roman Empire while surrounded by sycophants and traitors, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's not a suggestion. That's a command. Don't argue with reality. Don't try to fix what isn't yours. Don't waste another second trying to decode why they act the way they do. Let them drown in their own noise. You focus on your mind. And when that meeting comes, the one where your manager humiliates someone publicly or dangles fake praise before the axe, you don't flinch. You don't perform your pain. You don't look for sympathy. You detach, not with coldness, but with precision. You remind yourself, this isn't about me, because it isn't. That's the second shift, ego detox. The Stoics practiced this every day. They didn't let praise inflate them or criticism pierce them. They understood both are forms of slavery if you let them dictate your sense of self. Epictetus said, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. That doesn't mean your manager's behavior is okay. It means your inner reaction is optional. This isn't about suppressing anger. This is about mastering it. Let it come. Let it rise like a tide in your chest. But before it overflows, redirect it. Channel it into excellence, into clarity, into action, because when you're calm under fire, you send a signal not to them but to yourself that you are not a puppet. Your peace is not for sale, and that is the beginning of freedom. The third shift, rehearsed adversity. The Stoics trained for the worst before it happened, so they wouldn't break when it did. Seneca called it Premeditatio Malorum, preparing the mind by imagining the worst-case scenario. So you visualize it. You walk through that conversation where they insult your work. You rehearse the feeling of being overlooked, excluded, criticized, not to wallow, but to harden. So when it actually happens, it's familiar. You've been here before. You don't freeze. You don't spiral. You respond like a surgeon. Steady hands, clear eyes, no wasted emotion. You say nothing. You give no fuel. You leave the drama starving. And then when you're alone, you breathe, you sit with the fire. And you remember your boss is not the author of your life. They are just noise on the path. You are the author. You are the gatekeeper. You decide what enters and what passes through. The Stoics would not tell you to stay silent forever. If there's abuse, document it. If there's injustice, escalate it. But don't do it out of rage. Do it out of resolve. There is a difference. Rage burns fast and leaves you weaker. Resolve is cold steel. It acts without asking permission. It moves without announcing itself. It doesn't need to be loud because it's already real. You train this mindset like a soldier trains muscle memory. You build mental armor in advance. You walk into every interaction with a silent mantra. They do not control me. And every time they try, you prove them wrong. Not by shouting, not by shrinking, but by standing still, like a mountain, like a storm that never breaks. You learn to see through them. A toxic boss is not powerful. They're unstable. Their behavior is not authority. It's imbalance. Their insults are projections. Their cruelty is a symptom. That doesn't excuse them, but it frees you. You no longer fear the outburst. You expect it. You walk through it like wind. The workplace becomes a dojo. Every conflict is a test. Every insult is a weight to lift. Every meeting is a chance to demonstrate your inner control. And slowly your nervous system catches on. We are safe, not because the environment is kind, but because you are strong. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. So when your toxic manager blocks your peace, they become the path to your peace. They are the resistance that makes you unshakable. They are the fire that tempers the blade. You don't need to like it, you just need to use it. You don't rise by reacting, you rise by refining. You show up, you do your job with quiet excellence, and you build your exit plan if you need one. Not from panic, but from power. And even if you stay, you're not trapped, because your mind is free. And when the mind is free, there is nothing left to fear. The Stoics knew that the world would never stop testing them. They didn't expect comfort. They didn't beg for kindness. They trained for war and walked with peace. That is your challenge now. Not to change your boss, to change your relationship to them, to stop needing them to behave differently so you can feel whole, to become whole regardless. That's not easy. But it's possible. Every day, every insult, every tight-lipped moment, it's training for the next test, for the next battle, for the next time someone tries to break you with a smirk or a spreadsheet. And when that moment comes, you'll be ready because you didn't wait for change. You became it. And hey, if even one sentence woke something up in you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Not for clout, for strength, for clarity, for someone else out there who needs to be reminded that they're not weak for wanting stillness. They're strong for chasing it. Like it. Subscribe. Speak this channel into existence. Because maybe the numbers are low, but the impact, that's up to you. The world doesn't need more content. It needs more conviction. And if you've found any here, then make sure this voice doesn't get buried, because Stoicism isn't supposed to trend, it's supposed to last, and together we can make sure it does. I'll see you in the next one. Stay sharp, stay grounded, stay stoic.